Peace, peace, peace. Okay, I started studying the occult. Like really started studying the occult. Like just straight up the occult. Like I'll say like in 2005. And I remember one of my mentors at the time. I was copping a lot of books and stuff like that, and like he would always tell me like when you cop some books or whatever, like come back and ask me a question or whatever. Like if you have any questions, like to come back and ask questions. So like that's why I would get all my books from him because like he wouldn't just sell me books, but he would like allow me to ask him questions. And I remember one time like I would like read all these different books and stuff like that. And I remember one time it came a point in time where I read one thing and I was like reading a lot of information that he was giving me, books he was referring me to, and then he started to refer me to a lot of books that started to like conflict. It seemed like the information was conflicting with what he was telling me, like giving me before. And I was like, at first I noticed it and I didn't really say anything. And I'm like, yo, are you like giving me information that's kind of like conflicting from what like I was studying, 3-4 months back? He would always say it's different degrees of information. He would always say that it's different degrees of information. So that's what I want to name this video. And I'm basically naming this video Different Degrees of Information because for the past 9 months, I started making YouTube videos 9 months ago. And for the past 9 months, I've been pretty much offering surface level, even, like some of it even borderline, I guess you could say watered down type of information, only from a perspective and from a sense of the way that the masses are, and like when you offer information to like a public group of people, what I'm saying, you have to kind of like offer it in a way to where it's universal. So you can't like really specifically go into one thing or specifically go deep into another. What I'm saying? So that's pretty much what I was doing with this channel or whatever. Was like pretty much I designed it in a way to where it was like, something for everybody. There was going to be a lot of things that some people on the channel agreed with, and then there was going to be a lot of things that other people disagreed with. So it attracted a lot of different types of people. So now what I want to do is to go, I guess you could say, into another degree of information. So like now when I'm starting to offer this information or whatever in these new videos, you might hear me say some things. It's not like it's going to be all super deep. That's not what I'm getting at here, because some things I'm not going to talk about here, because some things, like I say, knowledge is sacred. So some things just can't be known or in public. It can't be talked about in public. But what I'm going to start doing is start offering information that is on the opposite end, or on the opposite spectrum, as you can say. And to really understand this concept, you have to understand how Tahuti teaches. Now, Tahuti is the deity of order, I guess you could say, or he's also the deity of, well, not really order. Let's not use the term order. He's the deity of clarity and the deity of confusion. I know you're like, hold up, what? Yeah, he's a 720 degree and higher being, which means that he can give you a circle of information that totally confuses you, and then he can turn around and give you a circle of information that teaches you, that gives you clarity. So I'm saying all this to say that when you study the law of polarity, which Tahuti teaches us, he teaches us about the law of polarity. And Tahuti, or Thoth, some call him Thoth, teach us that in the law of polarity, you have various degrees. The concept of degrees is introduced via the law of polarity. So when people talk about it's this temperature, or it's hot outside, or it's cold outside because it's so many degrees, or it's that many degrees, that's a measuring stick based upon a pole. The pole being the weather. So when you say it's hot outside or it's cold outside, that's based upon the degrees, or the temperature, or the temperament. So degrees measure the level or the state on a particular pole. So that's what degrees measure. So basically, like when you offer information, you have different sides of the pole, positive, negative. So you could offer information that supports an idea. You can turn around and offer information that totally contradicts that same idea and cause an argument, almost. And Tahuti is the deity of that. And I'm pointing this out for a reason, because Tahuti teaches you through confusion as well as through reality. Because you can learn a lesson in confusion just as well as you can learn a lesson in dealing with clarity or reality. So there's lessons in both. So what I'm saying here is that I'm going to start offering a lot of different information, not to confuse people. I'm not going to go that far with it. But what I am doing is that I'm going to offer information that may be a little bit different, I guess you could say, or a higher degree. I might be saying some things you might be like, hold on, but you said that on this video, now you're saying this. Like, it's like you're contradicting yourself. And what you have to understand is that there is no such thing as a supreme truth. There is no such thing as supreme truth. Truth is discovered by the person that's on a journey. You know what I'm saying? Or by the person that is traveling on a journey or a particular path. The truth is unfolded. The truth unfolds, put it that way. So what's true to you today may turn out to be false to you tomorrow. So it's my duty as a teacher to give you different perspectives, angles, and ways of looking at things so that you can make better decisions. It's not for you to accept what I'm saying as the truth or false. It's for you to listen to it and to learn how to form opinions, to listen to it from the state of the observer. So that's what Tahuti teaches us. So Tahuti will offer you some information, like when you start working with the real life deity Tahuti, because you can work with Tahuti, or some people call him Thoth, through a process of alchemy and through a process of occult magic that I'm not going to go into here. But when you start to work with Thoth or Tahuti, he might tell you one thing and then do something to totally confuse you on another spectrum. You like, but you said this, and then you turn around and did that. Like, he might say, well, do this. He might tell you to do a thing, and then he'll turn around and make something happen in your life that tries to stop you from doing the exact thing that he just told you to do. That's what Tahuti does. Tahuti can be, he's referenced in the Quran, the Holy Quran of Mecca, read by the Muslims and the Muslim world. And in the Holy Quran of Mecca, it's a story called the story of the wise man. And I believe this story comes out of the Ethiopian book of Enoch, actually. That's where it originated from. The story of the wise man. And Moses travels with this wise man. He meets this wise man. I think his name is, it's in a story called Luqman. He meets this wise man. And this wise man gives him a lot of information. He tells him, you know what I'm saying? Moses wants to travel on this journey with this wise man. And he begs the wise man, I just want to go with you and travel with you so I can learn your secrets and learn your wisdom. You know, wise man keeps telling Moses, you sure you want to travel with me? Moses is like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to do it, wise man. He's like, you sure? So like Moses, the wise man keeps asking him, and Moses kind of getting upset. Like, look, man, I said I want to travel with you. Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So the wise man like, all right, cool. So he let Moses come. So some things happen. I can't remember the exact story verbatim, but some catastrophic things happen. I know one particular thing. Moses watches the wise man sink and kill like some people on the ship. The wise man sinks a whole boat. He's supposed to be like the wisest man in the town or whatever, and he kills all these people. Then he caused another event to happen. He causes like some type of weather catastrophe or something like that to happen. But basically, it seems like this wise man is wreaking a lot of havoc. So Moses starts to question him. And I failed to mention this, but before Moses got on the boat, he agreed to the wise man. He was like, any questions you have of me, you ask me right now. Once you get on this boat, you don't ask me any more questions. Moses said, cool. He just wanted to get on the boat to learn the wisdom. So he got on the boat and he started to ask questions because the wise man was doing some things that he didn't understand. So he began to question the wise man. The wise man basically he kicked him off the boat. He dropped him off and told him he can't make the journey with him. And then but before he did that, as he was dropping him off, he explained to Moses why he did those different things. And most of the things that he did, he was basically sacrificing, I guess you could say, a certain amount of people to prevent a bigger calamity and catastrophe from happening. So like when the people that he killed on the boat, the people that sunk on the boat, he did that to prevent something bigger from happening. Now this story, I know I'm kind of vaguely giving out the story, and like if you really want to read about it, it's in the Quran. It's in a chapter called Luqman in the Holy Quran of Mecca. They have the Holy Quran online. You can like look it up online. It's called Moses and the Wise Man. I know it's in the Quran, but it's also in the Ethiopian book of Enoch, and that's a little bit harder to get. You know what I'm saying? But really the story of Moses and the Wise Man is really talking about Tahuti, and it's talking about degrees of information. And it's talking about how humans, when we look at information and knowledge, we get blinded in the light. Because if you look at a diamond from one angle, I like to use the diamond for an example because it's a good example of this. If you look at a diamond from like one angle, it'll reflect a green color. Then if you look at it from another angle, it may reflect the yellow color. And you may say, somebody that's looking from the angle of the green will say, no, it reflects a green color. The other person looking from the other angle will say, no, it reflects a red color. And both of you are really blinded and confused in the light. Because both of you are really seeing the same thing, which is a diamond. You're seeing both of you are right, essentially, but you don't have an overstanding. You don't have an overstanding. So what happens is that you're essentially pretty much like you get caught up, and you get caught up in the illusion. You see, the light is the illusion, and you don't have an overstanding, so you're not looking down on the thing. So that's just what happens or whatever. People get confused. So what I try to do is just offer people information based upon an overstanding, which basically gives them different ways of looking at it, because I'm coming from a perspective of an overstanding, meaning that I'm not saying that I'm with this angle or that angle. I never said I was with any angle. I'm simply helping you to make decisions. That's what this channel is about. You know what I'm saying? So in the future, the next few videos, the next few months, a lot of the information is going to be the same information, but just going a little bit deeper. So, you know what I'm saying? I just want to prepare people for that. And I thank you for watching this particular episode, this segment, and just know that all knowledge is one, and there's different degrees of information, and the people that's on the good side, as well as the people that's on the side of so-called evil, really are talking about the same thing, and they really have the same plight. So don't get caught up in the illusion. Just know that there's different degrees of information and different ways and angles of looking at things. And when you study information, study it from the state of the observer, and look at it to get a better perspective and angle on life. Look at information so that it will better you, and look for the best part of the information. Take what you need to get out of it, and those things that you don't think are for you, just leave it. So with that, I thank you guys for listening, watching. I'll leave you with peace, love, and light.